All right, so let's move to these guys.
The Leafs?
Yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's do it. Let's see what Paul thinks about the team, because I think everyone knows what I obviously think.
Yeah, they've obviously really improved up front. I think Mark Bell, the loss of him isn't going to really affect them too much. He's a second, third line player at best. Jason Blake is obviously a great pickup. He can score probably 70 points, 30 goals, maybe more. I'd say solid on defense. They have 6 guys who can play. Obviously, Caberlet and McCabe are decent defensemen. McCabe not so much on his own end, but Caberlet for sure. Ian White and Hal Gill are a pretty good pairing. In net, I think Vesitopoulos is a great pickup. He can play a good 50, 60 games. I think him and Raycroft are going to be one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. I think Raycroft can play with a little less pressure on him. He'll play a little bit better.
One can only hope, at least for me. I think the biggest thing for them this year is going to be Pavel Kubina and Alexander Steen. I think those are like the two biggest. They need to be. I think Steen needs to bounce back and have a good second half like he did the last year. He had a decent second half. I think he needs to be a good defensive player like he was in his rookie year. And I think Kubina needs to be the guy that they signed.
I'd like to see Wellwood really play up to his potential as well. He could get a good 60.
Well, I think Wellwood's good for 60 points this year, so I don't really consider him too much of a fact. Like, I mean, I'm expecting him to get 60 points. Like, Steen, on the other hand, I really want him to step up and score 20 goals this year and play like a sulky trophy-type defense. I think that's what they need out of him if they want to become like more elite, and they need their young players like Stage and Steen and Wellwood to really take that extra step. If they don't take that extra step, then they're going to have to reevaluate all their young players on their roster, and then maybe Steen's a third-line player after all. Maybe he's not quite that second-line player that everyone's making him out to be. So, all right, well, our last team, the
old Habs.
The Montreal Canadiens. I think they made the worst signing of the offseason in Roman Hamrlik.
Terrible.
Terrible. No, too long, too much. He's not nearly as good on the power play as Sheldon Surrey, and Hamrlik's defense is maybe just a little bit better than Surrey's. I mean, he's not like a great defender either. He's more of an offensive defenseman. And
I think this team lacks identity. They don't really have a guy that really stands out. I mean, Koivu's their captain, but he's not an elite player, and they need a guy like that to sort of carry the load.
I know Koivu's getting flack for coming out and saying that they weren't going to win the Stanley Cup this year. But who cares? I mean, he'd be lying to the media if he thought that, right? So, So let's just go ahead and pick our division winners.
I'm going to pick the Ottawa Senators.
I'm going to pick the Ottawa Senators as well. I mean, it's pretty safe to pick the defending Eastern Conference champions as a division winner. Now we're going to go ahead and pick who we think is going to be the worst player, the worst team in the division, and then the best player of the division, who's going to have the MVP of the division.
Okay. Who do you think's the worst team?
Montreal. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. They suck. I honestly don't see it. And every year Montreal comes out guns ablaze, and they're like, "Oh, Montreal Canadiens Stanley Cup threats." No, they always have a horrible second half of the year because they always win these 1-goal games in the first half of the year. They win they just win. And then
they lack the size
you can see you can always see that it's coming. You can always see that it's coming, that they're going to fall apart in the second half, and they always do that. And I don't think UA is that good. I mean, Carey Price is a stud, and if he starts playing for them maybe this year, then maybe he can lead them in, but he's still really young. I think he's going to be a top 5 goalie in the league when it's all said and done.
When I was deciding who to make my last team, I was sort of debating between Boston and Montreal. I'm going with Montreal as well.
Well, it is Boston, Montreal. I mean, Toronto's in the middle. Buffalo's ahead. Obviously, for me, it goes Toronto, Buffalo, Ottawa, and then the last two are kind of neck and neck in terms of crappiness. But I just go with Montreal based on I think Fernandez is better than Huet. So
definitely.
And that's where it all comes down to me.
Who's the MVP?
I'm going to say Danny Heatley.
Yeah.
I think Spets is going to score more points than him this year, but I just think Heatley brings that all-around game. He's a better defender. Although I think he shies away from the physical game too much for a guy of his size.
He's a big guy. He should be playing a little more.
I think he should go in the corners a little bit more. Hopefully he does that this year. But yeah, I think I'm going to say Danny Heatley's the MVP of that division.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, based on my scoring title, I'm going to say Danny Heatley as well.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've agreed on everything. Danny Heatley, I picked.
I'm sure he'll be last.
Yeah. Danny Heatley, I picked second in scoring this year, so I think he's MVP of the Northeast.
For me, it's not necessarily who scores more points. I think Spets is going to score more points than Heatley this year. But I just think Heatley brings that all-around game, and I think once Alfredson leaves, it's either him or Phillips as the captain of the team.
Yeah.
So I got to go with Heatley. So anyways, that's our Northeast Division preview for you. We're going to go on to the Atlantic. So we'll see you soon for the Atlantic Division.
Thanks for watching.